Hello Pearls, and welcome back to my channel. I'm April, life coach, founder and creator of Lena's Pearls. Today I want to welcome you to also the first of Lena's letters. This is where you, my subscribers, email me with some of your questions and some of the things that you might need advice on. And with your permission, I'll do a segment like this where I will share the letter and answer you on video. Today's letter comes from a young lady who I am really sorry for, and this is an issue that unfortunately is all too common. Lots of these issues, I say this all the time on the channel. We all are enduring so many of the things that each other, it's so universal, some of these issues, and you just don't realize how not alone you are in dealing with some of the things that you're dealing with. And that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, because there's, like I said in previous videos, there are so many women out here, men and women, who are hurting and alone and just dealing with things unnecessarily, and or they just are dealing with things and overall, and they don't have anyone to talk to and confide in, and they don't have anyone to trust in their close circle. So I started this because I can be that, unbiased individual who does not know your family and friends, and someone that you can come to anonymously. You can schedule a coaching call with me, so we can really go into the details, because in letters like the one I'm going to read to you today, it's a little bit hard for me to give you that one-on-one advice and that coaching and guidance, because I don't know all of the information, and I'm not in a situation to be able to ask the questions needed in order to completely help you and guide you. And so I'm grateful that this subscriber actually does have a scheduled coaching call, and we can get into things a little bit more in depth. But in the meantime, she did give me permission to share this with the channel and to answer her as best as I possibly could until we have our coaching call. So here we go. Dear Lena's Pearls, I'll be dating my partner for 2 years this coming April. We met in the military, but we are from the same state, about an hour away from each other. Because of this, I thought we would have it easier in the long run, because usually military members meet from all walks of life, and unless meeting before joining. I was excited to be able to come home together for the holidays this year, and meeting our families more easily than most other military vets and what have you. However, due to our different positions in life, that hasn't always worked out. For example, last year he went home for holidays, but my job did not allow me to go. This year, he'll be deploying for Christmas. So we're trying to make plans to go home together for Thanksgiving. But here's the issue. His family is very cultural. I say that to say they can be more judgmental, especially to outsiders. They keep things very tight within their family, and some of the more Americanized traditions are very taboo to them. For example, he warned me that there will be no New Year's kiss or Christmas mistletoe if we do go to their house for that event. When I did meet his mother, I was introduced as a friend, because to them our relationship won't be acknowledged if it's less than 5 years in. They're running a family business that I can't know too much about yet, and the list just goes on and on. Anyway, my family, however, is completely the opposite and would welcome him with open arms if they ever did meet him, especially my parents. My mom has already pretty much adopted him as her son-in-law over the phone. And despite our plans to finally meet my family this Thanksgiving break, his family decided to plan a trip to Canada. Not out of the state, out of the country, for this holiday. However, he explained to me that most of the rest of his family is also there in Canada, and that's understandable. I also understand that he will be deploying soon and probably wants to spend as much time as possible with his family. However, I am not asking for the entire holiday break. Just one day to meet my family while we're both finally there in the same state. Meeting the rest of his family is probably not significant to him with their aforementioned perspectives, but I have constantly expressed how important it would be for him to at least meet my parents. Now, he's practically obligated to go to Canada. On top of that, I found out from him that his sister and his mom don't even like me. Mind you, I have met his mom once, and I've said hi to his sister one or two times over the phone. His sister believes I'm too controlling, and his mom believes I would be a bad mother and take his child away. Yes, she actually said that to him. Of course, because those are some hefty assumptions, I asked him if he talks negatively about me to them. He swears he doesn't. That's just how they are. He tries to assure me that he doesn't listen to them and he's just focused on us. But if that was the case, he would be putting more of an effort in us as it relates to this Canada trip. Also, family is super important to me. And if we plan to join our lives in the future, I really don't want to have to tell any of his family members off. I don't expect him to do anything to stand up for me either. I just have a strong feeling that his family will eventually drive us apart. And this was supposed to be easy. What do I do? So let me just address you directly. I'm so very sorry you're dealing with this. And it's unfortunate, but you are dealing with something that so many of us deal with. So let me just go by and address some of these issues in this letter. Number one, I don't really specifically have anything against family traditions. There are many families out here who are old school, who have, or not even old school, but are very culturally aware. They come from different countries and they are determined and have passed down from generation to generation. If they've migrated, they've come over into the States from other cultures, that they are going to continue to keep alive those traditions that they have been raised and come to know and embrace from their own cultures outside of the United States. So I don't really feel like you should get too uncomfortable or feel like that's against you specifically, because that is just how it is. And even here in the States, there are still many people who have very strong family traditions that they've just had over years and over generations. And you just have to respect and embrace other cultures and other ways of life. You come from a very open family. Many families are not like that. There are many families out here where they don't believe, and it could be because maybe they encourage dating, sowing your oats, getting out there, living life, and they don't really believe in you getting too committed to someone too early in your life. Now, I don't know exactly how old you are, but that could be just an example that some cultures and some upbringings and family traditions do not look at anything serious until there is an engagement and there is a certain amount of time, because you don't, maybe in their family the men are encouraged to date frivolously or get it out of their systems, and then the only woman they end up bringing home is, okay, she must be serious, because they know don't bring her home unless they're very serious and they're about to make an announcement that I plan on marrying this woman. So we could be here all year about this, but so there's just different basis for different traditions and families. So I'm more or less, my point is, I don't want you to feel too offended in that it's against you specifically, because I just know that some traditions are just for specific reasons, and it's not necessarily against you specifically. It's just their family, and this is just the way they are. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to decide if that's something that you can deal with or not. I mean, he did tell you up front, and you're still in a relationship. So apparently you must have accepted that. That's not going to change. You are not going to change that long-standing family tradition. Now, if you do get married, you can then, merge both of your traditions, and maybe you'll be a little bit more open and he'll be a little bit more traditional based on his specific culture. So that would be how you would, mold your children and raise your children, and, maybe introduce some new traditions in your specific household. And that might also be why, there's why a lot of cultures don't like Americanized or dating out of their specific culture, because they want those same traditions to continue to go on and on and on. The 5-year gap, or the 5-year limit on your relationship doesn't honestly, to me, seem like it would make much of a difference in this case. And I'll go down into my reasons behind that. But from the things that you're saying in this letter, I really honestly don't believe that it would make much of a difference in your specific case. As far as the family business is concerned, you know, that really, he is not obligated, and neither is his family obligated to share anything as it relates to their family business. It really isn't. You're not married, you're not engaged from what I'm understanding, and you have been together for less than 5 years, as I'm also getting from this letter. And you don't know what has to be proven or seen in this relationship and in his family for them to even feel comfortable to let you in there. So you almost can't be upset about that either, because he is not obligated in any way to now, if you're free and you don't mind and that's something different. But then again, it seems like he has a very strong, prideful family background, and that's not actually a bad thing. That actually is a good thing, because maybe they're like this, they probably don't believe in divorce, and they most likely take commitments very seriously because they are so prideful, it seems, and so culturally aware. So as far as the family business is concerned, I really don't believe that. I don't think that they're obligated, and I don't really think you should take that too personal. I know it's hard to look at relationships very direct like this, but you know, it hasn't been 5 years. You're not engaged. You're still working a lot of things out. So I can almost blame them for not allowing you in there, because they probably aren't aware of even where you two are going yet, and some things still haven't been proven yet. Okay, so that's, you know, how I feel, and my advice to you on that is just not to even really take that seriously, and don't worry about it. Is, you know, if it's not affecting your home and affecting you financially, I wouldn't even worry about it. As far as the Canada trip, I do understand, you know, I have children in the military. It is very hard to get all my children together. We also are a very open family, so I get that. I know exactly how you feel. I don't believe that Canada was against you. It would be awfully extreme to put Canada against you. Now, I don't think that you were a consideration in that. You know, you have a whole family that you're dealing with here, and they have plans, and they have, you know, their family and people to consider, and they're trying to get together for a holiday. And his girlfriend, you know, your boyfriend's girlfriend, you were not probably a consideration in that. And I don't really know that you can almost expect to be, if you will. It would have been nice. It would have been even nicer if you were invited to go along to Canada, and maybe you could have pushed off you going home for the holiday. But I believe that the Canada trip would have been a little extreme. I don't believe that it was against you. If I'm reading and getting the vibe from your letter correctly here, that would have just been extreme for them to do. You know, you know, because he was coming to meet your family for the holidays, and oh, let's hurry. That would have just, you know, trips take a lot of planning and coordinating, and I know from personal experience, getting family together and pulled and travel, especially if you're going out of the country, that is a lot to do just to be against you. So I don't want you to take that personally. And I say all this to say, and I'll get into it even further, but he is the only one in this whole scenario that's obligated to you specifically. You know, if his focus is you, then he has to make a decision. Now, because you're not engaged, you're not his wife, you know, I don't know, and I don't really even, I mean, obviously it's been less than 5 years. I don't really know what level of expectation you could place on him as far as putting you above his family. You did say he's deploying, so maybe it would take a little bit more understanding on your part. I understand it, but if you guys are in this for the long haul, this will not be your last holiday for him to meet your family. You probably had your heart set on it, but he has a whole nother set of obligations that are going to take precedence in this situation, because it does not seem, and I'm trying to read your letter to see if, okay, 2 years. So you're going on 2 years. You haven't even hit the 2-year mark yet. You're still, I know it may not feel like it, but you're still very early in this relationship to expect certain things from him as it relates to the big picture, the family and all that. It just, you know, especially with you both being in the military, because I know how hard it is when you have kids and family in the military, especially coming from a mother's perspective. You know, I want to see my kids. I don't care about if their boyfriend or girlfriends can come along or not. So, I really truly understand that. So I just don't want you to feel that that was against you, and to almost understand that he does still have other obligations that don't relate to his relationship with you. But I say the other side of that, that your relationship with him, like his relationship with you, is only his responsibility. It's not his family's responsibility to consider it, especially this early in the game. You did say something in this letter that really touched my heart. And it kind of goes into the point that I was just saying. You said, I don't expect him to do anything to stand up for me either. That bothers me, because yes, he is obligated to stand up for you. If he loves you, if he sees a future with you, if this is where he wants to be, if he does plan on going farther than the 3 years, 5 year mark with you, because it does not take months. Men know what they want. And I've said that in previous videos. It does not take you to stand on cartwheels and run around like you're crazy for him to see, okay, this is who I want. Now, that depends on his level of experience too. If you're on the younger spectrum here, like 20s, early 20 somethings, then, he may not know exactly yet what he's looking for in his future wife. And you don't know that if that's being relayed to his family or not either. But he is supposed to defend you. If you're someone he loves and he cares about and he's committed to, at least now, I mean, it's going on 2 years. So apparently he's in it for some kind of period of time here and is serious with you, then yes, he is obligated to stand up for you. And that leads me into my next point. If he's focused on this relationship, and you said he assures me that he doesn't listen to them and he's just focused on us. Okay. And I do agree. He would be putting more effort, you said, in the Canada trip, but he would be putting more effort into the mom not liking you, the sister not liking you, the things. He may not be encouraging the negative comments, but he could be discouraging them. He could be saying, no, that's not true. He needs to have a backbone and stand up and defend you in that relationship. Now, that leads myself into my next point. You can't control people. You cannot control what people say, do, or think. But instead of just letting them dog you out or however they're talking about you in a negative light, he really is obligated to assure them and stand up for you. And it seems to me that he's not doing that. And I believe that overall, besides the Canada trip and the family traditions and the family business, it seems to me that you do not feel that you're getting the support from him, because, when his sister feels that you're controlling and his mother doesn't believe, like, what are they basing this off of? Obviously, you're not saying anything, and I don't know that you are, and I won't know more until we have our coaching session, but I don't know, where they're basing it off of if he's not giving them anything to go off of. How do you just assume someone's controlling unless someone's telling you something about controlling behavior? How do you assume somebody would not be a good mother, or would be a mother that would withhold her kids from the father, if you don't really know much about this person, or it doesn't seem like they're doing anything to really get to know you personally? They just seem to be tolerating you. And there's a difference. So in those situations, he is obligated. If he's focused on you and he has to take a stand. He has to let them know how important you are and how he feels about you. And of course, after it's all said and done, they're going to think what they want to think. But I'm almost tempted to believe that, is he feeding them something negative? Is he running back telling things? If you two are having arguments or disagreements about anything, what is he giving them? Or who do you both know that can relay information back? Somebody is feeding them something. Nobody just thinks they're controlling for nothing. So those are things, these are, the things that you really need to get to the heart of. And I did write some notes on this. So I wanted to make sure that I gave this to you complete and thoroughly. Like I said, he's responsible to defend you and to buffer negative things that are being said about you, especially if he doesn't agree with them, unless he agrees with them. So like I said, you need to get to the heart of that. He can stand up for you. Now, here is what I'm going to say for you. You need to decide your purpose for this relationship and how and where you are and what you want. it almost seems to me that you are a bit more experienced and or a bit more aware of what your dating purpose is and what you want and what you can see happening in your future with him. It does not seem to me that he is. However, you wrote the letter, so I'm going to concentrate on you. You need to clearly define what you need to really sit down and decide what you want for this relationship, if you are or not receiving it. And when you do clearly define what you want in this relationship, you have to sit down and let him know. Okay. Now, once it's clearly defined, if you two are not in the same, and I can link my Dating with Purpose video down below, because this is what I mean by this. If you clearly define it and you're not on the same page, then you need to make some decisions. Because his family seems to be very involved here. And you are going to have to decide if this is the future you want. If you want a future mother-in-law who is comfortable just assuming what kind of mother you'd be to your children that aren't even born yet, from what I'm understanding. And a sister-in-law who doesn't like you because she thinks you're controlling based on what? I mean, and to me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And you may be seeing some things early enough to make some decisions. Now, the problem is it seems that your heart and your time and everything is invested. But you are in control of you. And you have the right to have what you want in your life. And sometimes it's better to let it go so you can find and have what you want. I don't know the young man, so I don't know, what the whole picture. I can only give you tidbits because, like I said, I don't really know you and the situation, and I have yet to talk to you specifically. But it seems to me that at this juncture, number one, you can't take the family traditions personal. That's what it is. That's going to be, you're going to find that in all kind of situations. Even if you don't stay with him, you're going to come, everybody has their own little family traditions. We even have some, even though we're a very open family, we still have some very slight family traditions and expectations for, especially with our children's dating lives. The 5-year mark, I personally do not feel that the 5-year mark is going to make a difference. I almost want to say that that's an excuse. Maybe they're saying this because they know you've only been together for almost going on 2 years this coming April. So maybe they're just saying that. Maybe that isn't the situation. The family business, that you might as well just hang up and not even worry about, because they are not obligated at this point. 2 years in, it is not really any of your business. And I'm sorry to say it like that, but it really is not. You're in no position to even expect them to tell you anything about it. And I would just stop asking. To be so culturally aware and prideful and strong in family and traditions, I don't really know even if you do pass the 5-year mark and he does say that he's ready and he intends to marry you or whatever it is that his intentions are, hopefully they align together. I don't necessarily know that you would still even be invited in the family's business. I mean, you might even have to sign a prenup, because it seems like his mom and them it seems like he comes from a very strong female presence, and they don't seem to take kindly to new women. And it doesn't seem like, you say Americanized, so he's probably not American. So I don't know. Maybe they don't even just like American women. I mean, you have to get to the heart of these things, just ask these questions. But going back to my very main point, clearly define what it is you want. Clearly define if you're getting it, and make your definitions clear with him. And you can also say to him, I would have expected you to consider me with this, but you have to understand. See, there's so many variables in this. Family, this is the family holidays, and with him getting ready to be deployed, I don't know what branch you guys are in or how long his deployment would be. But his mother may want her son to see his family before he goes on deployment. So you have to be considerate of that. I mean, I'm sure your mother and father would want to see you before you got deployed if they possibly could. I mean, I know how it is in my family. This would be the first Christmas this year that all of my children will even be in the same state, let alone the same household. So I really honestly understand that as a mother. So don't take all of that personal, because it's too early in the game for you to even take that mess personal. It's not even about you. And it really it's almost too early for it to be about you. Yes, I said before, it would be nice if you were considered. It would be nice if they were, like your upbringing, but it's not. And that's what you're dealt with. And you have to decide if you want to deal with it or not. Okay. So I do look forward to our coaching session. I've said it a couple times. I really am, so that we can get into the heart of it and I can really help you and comfort and uplift and encourage you a little bit more in detail. So that is pretty much it, my pearls. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Also, open up the comments down below and let's help our fellow subscriber. And if you guys have any additional and further advice for her, that would be wonderful. If you have any need of any advice or, any content like this and you wouldn't mind me sharing it, the email works. As you can see, Lena's pearls4@gmail.com. Or if you just have any additional content idea that you would like for me to discuss on the channel, I'm always open for new ideas and suggestions. I will link the Dating with Purpose video down below because that is something that ties into this as well. If you don't believe that you're getting things reciprocated, I can also link the, believe what he says and does, not what your heart wants to see and hear, because I believe there's some keys in there that would definitely help you with this situation. Also, I wanted to go over our giveaway really quickly. We announced that we are trying to get the channel to 1,000 subscribers. So like and subscribe, please subscribe and share with those that you feel like this would help so they can also subscribe. It has now changed to $1,000 for our 1,000th subscriber. That will probably either Cash App you or give you a Visa or American Express card with the $1,000 on it. I'm also going to randomly choose a subscriber because, like I said before, it takes all of us to get to this point. So I'm going to randomly choose a subscriber to also give $100 to as well, Cash App or card. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. That information will be down below as well. Again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. Thank you so much for trusting me to help guide you in this thing we call life. Until next time, take care and be blessed.